Yo.
What up, though?
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
All right, then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
Street Beat.
Yeah.
With Tony B. For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community. Street Beat. Street Beat. With Tony.
Good morning and welcome to this edition of Street Beat. It's me, your host, Tony B, and we have a fantastic show for you this morning. I went over the Thanksgiving holiday to see The Wiz, and it was absolutely amazing. The performers were incredible. The set design was incredible. And Kelly Foster Warder is the director and choreographer of this Fifth Avenue production. Now, if you're not familiar with The Wiz, this world premiered on Broadway in 1975, starring Stephanie Mills as Dorothy. Some of you may remember that. Stephanie Mills, of course, went on to have a fabulous singing career. A lot of people heard about The Wiz for the first time in 1978. That's when the movie The Wiz came out. Just all-star cast, Richard Pryor, Lena Horne, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Nipsey Russell. What I remember about that, because I like The Wizard of Oz too, and I was a big fan of The Wizard of Oz. And so I think that it was, we're off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Now, when I heard that translation go, he's on down the road, I just thought, wow, this is cool. This is it. And then I also was a fan of Being Gone, Richard, you know, and that was cool. But then, can you feel a brand new day? This was like for me. That's how I felt at the time. Like, oh, this performance is for me. This is The Wiz. All right. So having said that, we have incredible guests for you that will be here. I'm so excited about the guests that we have here again. This is currently showing at the Fifth Avenue Theater. And I will bring them out. I'm just so excited about this. First of all, I know there's no audience here, but those of you who are watching at home or listening over the air, our first guest is Shanice Omar Eveline. How are you? Good. This is your mic, so I'm going to give this to you.
Cool, thank you.
And I'll take this one. Just great to have you here.
Thank you.
Great
I'm glad to be
I
here.
so much enjoyed your performance.
Thank
I
you.
so much enjoyed your performance. It was
Thank
just amazing. But wait, we have more. Also, Mr. Philip Atmore, the Tin Man.
Hey. Good morning.
Philip, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. If when you see this gentleman on stage, you're gonna stand up and start clapping and moving your feet and wishing you could do what he does. And singing too. Everything.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Just a phenomenal cast. And at least here today, last and definitely not least, yes, we have the Scarecrow, Nehemiah Hooks. Nehemiah is here. Nehemiah, how you doing, my man? Are you made out of rubber?
A little bit, yeah. I got a little rubber in me.
You eased on down the road.
Yeah.
You eased on down the road. It is so great to have all three of you here to talk about this production.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
So feel free to have a seat.
Okay.
If you like, and we'll get started. The first thing I want to do, I talked a little about The Wiz and a little bit about the original. Yeah, he's kind of high, huh?
I said,
Feet to
when I
swing
was
on
back there, I said, I didn't practice getting up on the stool. So, have your way to your side. God knows you work here.
But 8 times a week you sit on that throne, so you got it.
See, this is why my castmates, they hold me up.
Well, rather than me read bios, the fun for me is just to ask you each individually about yourselves and your background. That way you can say whatever you want to say.
Sure.
And of course, obviously, you want wonderful bios, but my earphones fell out. I'll get those. But I want to hear from you a little bit about each of you. So, Shanice, I'm going to start with you. Share with us a little bit about your background. I'm hoping you'll talk a little bit about your upbringing, what got you interested in being an entertainer, and then of course included in that the Wiz. So that's a lot. But so what your background, what got you started, your acting career, and then what your first impression was of the Wiz, because it seems like everybody has a first impression
Their own, right.
of the Wiz. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
I do.
Okay.
Hey everybody. I'm a hometown girl. This is town business right here.
Hey.
Right here in Seattle. South End, Renton High School, Skyway, that's me. But yeah, I mean, I'm a church girl, so I grew up in church, and I grew up singing in the choir. I grew up being very active in church. So I think that was probably my first, and a lot of us, our first experience with performance. Doing the Easter speeches, being in the Christmas play and things like that. But when I got to middle school, I joined the Total Experience Gospel Choir.
Oh, Total Experience Gospel. Shout out the Total Experience Gospel Choir.
Right, and Queen Madame Pat Wright.
Pat Wright, bless her soul.
Yes.
An icon in our community.
Oh, yes. I am a living legacy of her.
Yeah.
What you see on that stage is what Pat poured into me from age 11 to 18 years old.
She had an impact on so many people and so many of us. I know, tens of
thousands of kids and people Pat touched. And I was afforded to go, travel around the world with her, around the country. I learned so much about music and just performance altogether through Pat. So that really kind of sealed the deal. Because, I was in it at the late 80s, early 90s. We were doing commercials. Yeah. We were traveling. Like, she really taught us the professional side of performance. Although we were still a gospel choir, so we were still singing the word. But we were taking it all over the world.
So for those of you who don't know, and I'm just interrupting you for a second,
please.
Because Black History Month doesn't just have to be in February. Total Experience Gospel Choir. You need to hear more, find out, Google them, whatever you got to do.
Whatever you got to do. No, I'm sorry. No, I always have time for Pat. She's in my bio in the program. I always have time for Pat. So from there, I went to college. I studied theater because I loved theater so much. It was like, I don't know, the storytelling, the art of it was everything. Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Okay. We just won the Bayou Classic a couple weekends ago. Go Southern Jaguars. And so from there, I started my first probably professional gig post-college was Black Nativity at the Intimon.
All right.
So that was year 3. Yeah.
You are just all up in the mix here.
I am town business. Right? So, Intimon. And then from there, I did another show that kind of took me to Philly. And then I went on tour with Menopause Musical. Then I moved away and did work in Houston. And then I came back home. And when I came back home, I had been gone so long, it was almost like I was brand new again. So the theaters had to get to know me. And then I just, started working around here. And so I'm here today, really to right now, on this interview.
Awesome.
But my first impression of The Wiz, so I was about 3 when it came out. So I don't remember that, but I don't remember life without The Wiz though. And it was always my favorite movie. I would watch it all the time. I was traumatized by those moving that subway scene.
Oh yeah, the garbage can.
But I couldn't stop watching it. Oh, don't say it. Oh. I was traumatized by that, as we all were. But I just loved the freedom when they were easing on down the road, the skipping. Michael Jackson was spinning and turning and jumping, and Nipsey was just like showtime, show business, and then Mean old Evelyn. I love that scene. All them Winkies dancing like that, and her just walking around and telling folks what to do and how to do it, and just, and yeah, she was ugly, but I didn't see that. What I saw was just this this woman who, whether she was making the right decision or not, just taking control of of her situation.
Okay.
She was wrong.
She's a boss.
She was a boss.
She's wrong. She's a boss.
But she was in charge.
We don't endorse it. It's wrong. Use your powers for good. So that's it. Yeah. But I really love The Wiz. Being a part of this cast with these guys and in that show, all Black cast to be on that stage in a self-produced house show is just amazing. I'm happy that I'm a part of that history to look down in the pit and see our music director, Rainier, sitting down there being the first Black woman music director to stick conduct in an in-house produced show in that pit is emotional. It's a very beautiful thing because I am Seattle. This production means so much to me because I'm glad that we can give this to our community. We can give this to little kids right now that don't know The Wiz.
Yeah. We gonna listen. I'm talking to the assistant program. Give her a contract. We're gonna get you on air. Mickey, I mean, you're already from Rainier anyway, in South Seattle.
Skyway.
You did talk about, and I'm gonna do another shameless plug here about having an all-Black cast. We are live from the Columbia City Theater. This is this very stage that Jimi Hendrix has performed on.
Wow.
The very stage, Ernestine Anderson. I could go on and on about the people who have performed on this particular now stage that is Black owned as well. So we'll throw that plug out there as well. And also joining me, man, just blew me away. Blew me away. Mr. Philip Atmore, how are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm grateful to be here. I am a grateful first-time guest to the theater, to the Seattle theater scene. So, and at the Fifth Ave. So this is my first time performing in Seattle, first time working at the Fifth Ave, and I'm just having a great time with these beautiful Black artists, and getting to play on stage at the Wiz every night.
So same question about your background, whatever it is that you want to say.
Yes.
And again, it ended off with your first, when you were first impacted by the Wiz.
So I'm originally from LA. I'm from Pasadena, California. And I started performing when I was 3. I'm number. I started performing when I was 3. I'm the baby by far, so I'm number 3 of 3, but 20 years junior to my brother and sister, who both were born in the 60s. I was born in the 80s, and so my brother was in the Mickey Mouse Club in the 70s. My sister, self-taught musician, and then by the time I was born, 20 years later, same ingredients, different generation. My parents were like, "Oh, what's he gonna do?"
Were your parents musical?
No, actually, that's what's so funny. I mean, my dad, because he was a bit like my dad and my granddad in terms of generations. I grew up listening to Ernestine Anderson, Sammy Davis Jr., Nancy Wilson. So jazz has always been in me in terms of pedigree and raising and my ear for music. But he had an appreciation for music, and but my grandmother, who is from Germany. Originally, my mom's from Germany. Her mom, my grandmother Charlotta, was a cabaret performer in Germany.
Wow!
So it kind of skipped a generation and jumped onto all 3 of us.
DNA will do that.
It will. Yeah, it will.
Show up down the line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So So I grew up in LA, and as I said, I started performing when I was 3. My parents put me in dance as a gamble, and they were right. And I started with tap dancing, and then quickly discovered that I loved to sing and act. And so I grew up, doing commercials and some film and TV stuff. And I ended up I also grew up in the church and an introduction to music in that way as well. And I went to an arts high school, LA County High School for the Arts, which was conservatory style training for 4 years. And by the time you graduated, you knew whether this was going to be a career or a passion, or both. And for me, it was both indeed by the time I graduated. And I was on my way to NYU for drama, and at the last minute got a job offer to go to Moscow. And so I went to Moscow, and I deferred NYU 2 years, and I just never went back. So my first job was actually in Russia for 4 months doing a production of 42nd Street. And my road to Broadway was that to a touring company of Fosse. And then my first Broadway show was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I never looked back in terms of the Broadway thing. So yeah, from there I've been in lots of Broadway shows and been back and forth from LA to New York working, and I'm also an alumni of So You Think You Can Dance season 6. So I've had lots of different experiences from film, TV to stage, and I love singing and dancing and acting. And The Wiz was very much a part of my early introduction to musical theater. At the time, I didn't know it was called musical theater. I just saw people who looked like me, who were singing music that I loved and were dancing like I wanted to dance, and were paving a way for me. And so, but yeah, early on, I too was traumatized by the scene. And my dad used to work, he was a city investigator, so he worked downtown City Hall. And anytime we'd go down into the parking lot, the beams looked just like the moving beams in that parking lot scene. So I would shudder every time we'd go down to drop my dad off for work. But anyway, I digress. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it. No, I'm just kidding.
Watch it and then don't watch
Just skip that scene. No,
It's part of the experience.
it's a part of the
It really
experience.
is.
No, but I just fell in love with. I am always inspired by seeing people who look like me in generations past when it seemed that doors weren't open and yet they were shining.
Yeah.
And so, The Wiz, and I'm obsessed with like the Cotton Club era and Harlem Renaissance, where you saw not only artists, but originators of what we do now and what many people do, white and black and beyond, but black artists who are originators of what you see on the stage that's called musical theater. I just love that we're a part of an all black cast now doing a show that really does still speak to the generations. Yeah.
And I was saying, I don't know if you heard me do a little monologue before, because Wizard of Oz, I mean, that was, as I grew up in the 60s. And so I was like, every once a year would come on, and I'd wait in front of the TV for 364 days. To see that. And then, also follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
But ease on down the road.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And you guys get to do that.
Yes, we get the ease on down.
Well, I don't get to do it. That's another thing.
You get to break the road up. No.
By the way, you're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. It's me, Tony B. This is Street Beat. My guests are cast members of The Wiz. I don't know if you can see a little red light up there, but we have radio, but then we also stream this on our audio as well. So I wanted you to make sure that you knew where the camera was up there.
Yes.
I know everybody wants to see you, so you can look up there and talk to folks too.
Hello.
And last but not least, and so Dorothy comes out and does her thing, and then finally, they end up and you're waiting for this part because the Scarecrow. This is it. This is about to. And my guest, Nehemiah Hooks. Nehemiah, how are you, bro?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody.
And just set it off. just set it off, man.
Same question for you.
Same questions. Yeah, but I'm giving you your props. I was at the show, and I'm telling everybody if you haven't seen this particular production, you've only got until the 23rd of December to see this at the Fifth Avenue Theater, and we'll talk more about that. But same questions, your upbringing, wherever you want to go with that, your professional resume, and then of course how you were first impacted by The Wiz, if you want.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you all. So I'm also a Seattle area native.
All right.
I also grew up in Renton. I'm a Renton High School graduate.
Both of them.
I went to Nelson. I went to Campbell Hill.
All right.
We got the same track.
I also, yes. There's actually a few of us. Me, Shanice, and Trina Mills.
And Trina,
we all went to Renton High School.
Renton High School graduate.
She plays Glinda.
She plays
Glinda.
Renton. What is going on at Renton High School?
Baby,
we're representing.
We are
We're out
representing.
here.
Okay.
Renton does a thing.
Apparently so. Well, you know, Renton is part of South Seattle,
That's
and
right.
Rainier Avenue,
Skyway.
which is the thoroughfare that goes to, I say, everything. That's how we get down in South Seattle.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do. That's me and Maya. I can't get these headphones.
Yeah.
Get this started.
So I also grew up in the church, Seed of Abraham Pentecostal Church, downtown Renton. Thank you very much.
I'm seeing a pattern.
Shout it out.
So I definitely grew up in church, and that's like where I learned to sing and community. And I didn't get into theater until high school. My first production was West Side Story there, and I did it with Trina Mills as well, who's in the cast. And that's where the theater bug bit me. And I attended the Pacific Northwest Ballet School for a while when I was in high school. And I was like, should I do ballet? Should I do theater? And I ultimately chose theater. After high school, I moved to New York, and I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy and studied musical theater there. And then I have a story about The Wiz, and I'll interject now. Obviously, I grew up with The Wiz, knowing the movie and things like that. But when I was very young in New York, after graduating, I auditioned for a regional theater. I forget the name of the theater, but I got cast as the Scarecrow, and I didn't take the job because I didn't like the pay. And this show is the next time that this opportunity has come up for me. So it has been like a really big full circle, and that was like 20 years ago.
So the pay must be cool this time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This pay is cute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this pay is making up for the pay that I had.
Oh, yeah.
Also, so then I also got into cruise ship performing, and I worked with Norwegian Cruise Lines for many years, and that was great. I got to see the world and travel and sing and dance and do what I love. And then I moved back here to Seattle in 2019 and started auditioning, being like, hey, let me get back to Seattle, back home. I want to be on land, no more cruise ships, and let's see what the theater scene is like here. And the first show that I did here was also an all-black show.
Yes.
Shout, Sister, Shout.
Hey.
With
Yeah, I
Shanice.
was part of that too. Yeah.
Come on.
And then the pandemic hit, and so, but then this last year, things have been picking up again, and I'm just happy that I get to be here and that I've made the full circle. And that Wiz story, that's I'm living the dream right now because I'm in this production. Absolutely amazing. And to do it in my hometown and to like represent and like having, been raised here and then leaving for many years and then coming back and then being able to be like, hey, I'm back. You can be me. I can be you.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Wow. You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. It's me, your host, Tony B. This is Street Beat. My guests, cast members of the iconic touchstone in many Black communities, The Wiz. So I want to start off with by asking each of you this: what goes into, and I know this is kind of a big question, but what goes into preparing to do this particular production? And you've all done lots of different things, but if you can kind of give us that behind the scenes of what's involved in preparing yourself to do this type of production. And now I'm going to add a little context to this. First of all, you've got the Black Tony Award-winning thing that started in 1975. And then turned into a movie with all the big stars that, in particular in the Black community, everybody, you hear these folks saying they grew up with it, impacted what they do. Then back on Broadway in 1984, and it's never left. It's been part of the community, so it's kind of a loaded question, but just so that folks can know. And it may be cool, it may be, hey, you know what? I'm an actor, I'm a professional. This is what I do. But just each of you, kind of share with our listeners and those who are watching right now, how do you prepare for something like this? And I'm going to get into the, choreography and thanking the director and all that stuff. But for each of you, it's about to start. I don't know if it's your first day of rehearsal or how that works, but just kind of share with us. Like, I guess, you know what? I started with Shani. I'm going to start with you.
Yeah. Preparing for this. Well, first and foremost, for me, when I got cast in the show, I immediately thought about the weight that it carries for our community. And it means so much. And also knowing that this was going to be the first all-Black cast that the Fifth Avenue was having, and also one of the only professional theaters to put on The Wiz across the nation, because it's not done very often. So, you carry some of the weight of the past on your shoulders in this, and you want to take time to be able to acknowledge and honor the ones that came before you. So there's mental preparation in that, and you take that with you. And for me, that's something that I stepped into the rehearsal space, knowing all of those things. And for that, you do your research, you learn your music, you learn your lines, and then you also find for yourself, I found for myself, like, where do I fit in this story, me personally, Nehemiah? And because I'm also a part of this experience, like everything that's come before me, it is now my turn. And I have everything, all the people behind me that have done this show or been a part of it or had an experience, I share that with them. And I now get the opportunity to find where my space is in this production. And those are the mental things that I would say that have gone into preparing to do this show.
Philip, same question.
Yes, I'm just amening and amening as Nehemiah is speaking. When you have the privilege of being a Black artist of this generation to do an all-Black show that made waves and that paved the way for you, and you suddenly have an opportunity to step into a specific pair of shoes, you have to know whose shoes you're stepping into, and then you have to know who you're bringing into the room with you. So I sort of, in terms of process, I look at my prep for this show in two different ways. There's the read the script and learn the music and learn the arc of the character and who you're disappearing behind. And then there's also what specific sounds of Blackness, of music are painting the colors of the world. And that is very specific to the history that you're bringing into the world because of Black originators in music. And so, and then you look at who has played the Tin Man, and in the film Nipsey Russell, a famous comedian, but when Kelly Foster Water, when she reached out to me and said, I would like for you to play my Tin Man, and I want him to tap dance. For me, I immediately go to not only Nipsey Russell in terms of his comedic timing and his the vaudeville sense that he brought to the role, but I think of Bilbo Jingles Robinson, and I think of John Bubbles and all of the Black song and dance men that were received for their smile and performance, but because of the way that the world was then, were not received for the depth and heart that they brought into the room and that they imparted to the next generations. And what I love about having an opportunity to do an all-Black show, and a show particularly like The Wiz, is that it's not just about the performance, it's about the heart and the depth and the heart and soul that Black entertainers have poured into not only the work, but into the next generation by presenting the work. And so knowing that and stepping into the room, a lot of it is done for you, but then you have to be brave and say yes to what it looks like in your skin.
Wow, we're gonna go to break here real quick, but I gotta bring this up here. Kathy Sledge was here, and I was interviewing her on the stage, and I told her about the history of this building and what you just said. She said, wow. She said, so there had to be a time when those performers you were talking about couldn't come in the same door we came in. But we're all just sitting here right now, like it ain't no thing.
Yeah.
Honoring those who've come before us is a big deal.
Right.
We're gonna come back and again have you share with us your experience as we kick this thing off. You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. It's me, Tony B, my guest cast members from the incredible production of The Wiz, which is at the Fifth Avenue Theater. I think it's a show every night?
Wednesday through Sunday.
Wednesday through
Sunday, but 2 shows on the weekend.
2 shows on Saturday and Sunday.
2 shows on Saturday and Sunday. So there you go. We'll be back, and we'll start with Shanice right after this.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time, and when I'm not deep frying a turducken in a closed garage, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
And welcome to our live studio audience for another exciting edition of Did You Know? And here we go with round 1. Did you know?
The COVID vaccine is free and easy to get. You don't need insurance or an appointment to get your vaccine. Vaccines are available at many locations near you.
And now we're going to double the value. Did you know?
The COVID-19 vaccine is always free of cost. You can visit pharmacies, community health centers, and other health providers in your neighborhood.
And now for the lightning round. Did you know?
The Delta variant of COVID is a mutation that has health experts worried because it's twice as contagious.
Then for our finale. Did you know?
The best way to protect yourself from the COVID Delta variant is to get fully vaccinated. Get your vaccine today.
Find out more at kingcounty.gov/vaccine.
Did you know?
Rainier Avenue Radio presents All Music, All Day Saturday. Music, All Day Saturday.
This is Edwin Bailey, Bulldog Blue.
Jazz from the Cabinets.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy.
Star Time.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul Pierce. This is Star Time.
Saturdays, all music, all day. Reggae Hour. K-Fox Night.
Looking for the perfect beat? Yeah, it's the beat of the box.
Fresh Juice with D-Money and
Myself, D-Money.
Nice Size Patron.
Taylor Hart.
Spencia. The Northwest Rap Gang.
DJ Medina. Chad Cheddar. Northwest Rap Gang.
Sergio Lacour's Love Line.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Go to the phone line. Tell her who we talking.
Sea Monster Radio. Mo Jams is your jam.
We're live. Welcome to Mojo Mondays. This is KZ Music Media. Caller Goddess for Mojo Mondays.
Just my opinion. God is inspiration. Music. All day and all night. Saturdays on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Welcome to the coronavirus pandemic.
I'll take coronavirus for 100.
Fever, chills, shortness of breath, loss of taste or smell.
What is stay at home and isolate?
Correct.
Coronavirus for 200.
Inability to stay awake, persistent pain or pressure in chest, trouble breathing. What is seek immediate help? Correct.
Coronavirus for 500.
Crippling and potentially dead infectious disease eliminated in the United States with vaccination.
What is the polio vaccine?
Correct.
I'll take coronavirus for 700.
The Daily Double. Should I take the coronavirus vaccine?
Wait. Hold up. This is not a game. It's time for serious discussions. We have coronavirus vaccines, but not everyone is comfortable taking them. Here's the facts. Based on what has been proven about vaccines for other diseases, COVID-19 vaccine may help keep you from getting seriously ill, even if you do get the virus. Getting vaccinated also may protect people around, particularly those at greater risk for severe illness from COVID-19. We don't yet have all of the answers. Get informed, talk to your healthcare physician, and make the right decision for you. This is a message supported by the Washington State Department of Health.
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Yo,
what up, though?
I got to talk. I gotta tell what I feel. I gotta talk about my life as I see it.
All right then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
Street Beat. Yeah.
With Tony B.
For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community.
Street Beat. Street Beat. Who, Tony?
Welcome back to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. It's me, your host, Tony B. Joining me are cast members from The Wiz, which again is running at the Fifth Avenue Theater all the way up until December 23rd. I went to see the show over the Thanksgiving holiday and was just blown away. I got my Wiz hoodie and some other paraphernalia from the show, but it is really just exciting. And thank you all for being here and coming here to this part of the city, South Seattle. Y'all know where we're at, our community.
Come on.
In this particular theater. So it is just great to have you here. It's Shanice. I'm glad you got the memo. You know, we did our black on black. So it's the same deal. As you were preparing, like right, just that point, I don't know what you call it, the first day of rehearsal or whatever it is. You know, how do you prepare? How did you prepare? What was going on at that point in time?
Well, I want to start by saying I've been preparing to be in The Wiz all my life. And I didn't mention earlier, but it definitely went into this process. I have done The Wiz before in Houston, Houston, Texas. Yes, in 2000, I want to say 9 or 10 at the Ensemble Theater, Houston. If you're ever in Houston, go see a show there. They do beautiful work. So I was blessed to play Eveline there. So I came into this experience with some experience. With The Wiz. But what I wanted to make sure was that this Eveline was not the Ensemble Theater's Eveline. That they could possibly, they're sisters, maybe even fraternal twins, but they can't be identical twins because in this particular production, it's at a different theater with a different director. I have a different Tin Man. I have a different Scarecrow, Lion, Dorothy. You know, it's a different production. So for me, you know, doing the show again, I wanted to make sure that I did not repeat or just redo what I had done in the past, that this Eveline has her own way, her own life. She's fresh on it, right? So there are definitely similarities because it's me and it's coming out of me and also through me. But that was my first thought. And then going back to what Nehemiah and Philip said, again, like this show, I've been preparing my whole life to do this show. Oh, and I'm going to do it again if God says so, right? I wanted to honor all of the people that came before me and all of the actors and actresses around the world that have gotten the honor to do The Wiz. I carry that with me as well, right? This is the first all-Black show that's been produced by the Fifth Avenue in my city. I wanted to honor my city with that. And I wanted to make sure that I was putting on something that they could be proud of and that they also would have a great memory from Christmas. I mean, I want folks to come and have a ball, have a good time. I want you to yell, sing with us with Ease on Down the Road. I ain't mad. I want to hear a little feedback from you guys when you're in the audience. Enjoy yourself. Come to the theater to enjoy yourself. So that really was on my mind. And I was like, in order for them to do that, I got to put up a performance that they will enjoy and that also fits in this production. So I began to, I do a lot of like vocal crazy sounding work. That's why I sound wild right now, scratchy. But my Eveline has a lot of and all these wild things that I do with my voice. So I wanted to make sure that I seasoned her well with some layers and some depths. And then also just looking at her as a character. Before I said, yes, she's a boss, but also why? How did she get that way? When I'm preparing for a role, there's always the script that we see and the words and the story that the playwright, their intention is right there in the script. And also in between those lines and with conversations and dialogue with other characters, you can also see or hear the history of your character or what could be inside of them, what they may have experienced, why they are the way they are. So I also teach theater. One of the biggest things that I tell my students when they're doing character work is there are a few ways to find out who your character is, the backstory. One, by what the playwright has written in the script, whether they wrote a description about the character and or what the character is saying in the script. So that's kind of like, boom, right there in your face. Then also it tells me the type of character that I have is, how do people interact with me? How do the other characters interact with my character? How do they talk to my character? How do they feel about you know what I mean? How, are they always welcoming when my character comes around? Blah, 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 whatever. So what is that relationship like? Is there a common thing between my character and all of the other characters? Is there a common relationship, whether good or bad or whatever? Then also, what do the other characters say or talk to the other characters about me when I'm not around? That also tells me about my character. Right. Is there dialogue happening about me when my character is not in the room? So what are they talking about? What are they saying? That also informs me about who my character is. So I always start there. Through the Wiz, Eveline is only seen in I call it a lunchbox, but they are talking about her from the time they hit Oz. Honey, she's the baddest. Honey, she's the most powerful. Honey, that girl is everything. Honey, she runner. I mean, like, they are talking about Eveline all the way to the point where like, who is she? Let me see her. So I use that. I'm the most powerful. Oh, I'm that girl that's everything. I think that's what Jimmy says. That girl is everything. Yeah, I'm that girl that's everything. Okay, what does that mean? And then also, how do my Winkies interact with me when I'm actually interacting? How do I interact with the Scarecrow when I come by? And I'm not telling no spoilers. How does that impact me? So that helps me determine who I am and the process, the way I look at how I formulate and what the recipe is going to be for a character.
I'm not mad at you, but you were Eveline.
Oh yes.
He's like, I forgive you.
No, don't be mad, because if I came out there and you weren't scared and you weren't like, she's bad, she's evil, then I didn't do my job.
Yes, true.
You were mean.
I'm supposed to be. And baby, I'm getting meaner and meaner. Listen, I heard you say you came during Thanksgiving weekend. So you and anybody that came during that weekend, I need y'all to come back. This show has grown. Since then. We opened that Sunday night. And so during that process of Thanksgiving week, that's our tech preview process, and that's a preview to the show that we are going to set. So we were dating that show that you saw. We may even got a little engaged, but we didn't marry it. What we did on Sunday night, that opening, that's Boo Thang. That's what we're showing now. So come back and see that show. Please, if you came that weekend, please come back.
Come again.
And see it again. There are multiple discount codes. I think if you purchase a ticket, if you look in the program, you could get 50% off if you come back. Just like talk to us. We discount, like, there's no reason for you not to see this show.
Come on.
Don't let anything be a barrier.
Come back and bring a friend.
All right. You're listening to Street Beat on Rainier Avenue Radio World. Now, I don't know if y'all have heard me on the radio before. One of the things that people know about me is I just have open, honest, frank conversation. So I cannot let this pass that it is 2022, and this is the first all Black cast to ever perform at the Fifth Avenue Theater. I'm just saying we gotta do better than that. We can't keep
Well, I'll say this. I won't say that it may be the first to ever perform there, but in-house produced production.
In-house produced, yeah. Okay.
And that's important.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's more important than I think.
Yeah.
You know, because
yeah.
And maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. It could be the first time an all-black cast has performed in that house, period. But the thing is an in-house produced show. And the Fifth Avenue has not been producing their own season that long compared to other theaters in the area, because I think originally it was a Roadhouse. But yes, it is 2022. Yeah. And I keep saying it because I want to honor that. And I think the Fifth Avenue look, sometimes it takes a minute for folks, but I'm here for now that they're here. I'm here. Okay. I'm here to put on for my city. The first day I came to the rehearsal, what did I say? It's going to be joy.
Yes,
I'm coming
it's
through
true.
with joy. When we all stood up to introduce ourselves, I said, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be a part of this. I'm going to show up for my city. And I'm bringing joy with me every single day to the theater.
It is joyful. It is incredible. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Phil, tell me about your Tin Man.
Yes.
So we know the Tin Man from the original wonderful Wizard of Oz. We know Nipsey's Tin Man. I'm telling you, man, seriously, you I didn't know about the tap dancing that you were about to do. You set it off and the singing and everything. Tell me about your Tin Man. Do you use the other Tin Men, and do you say I have to, to some extent, take these characters? Tell me about your Tin Man.
Yes. No, thank you. So one of the things that I realized when I read the script is that the Tin Man is actually a man of few words throughout it. And so what that says to me about a character is that this character is always listening. And it makes sense because the Tin Man has been frozen, rusted over for God knows how long. And so all he has are his ears and sometimes his eyes frozen in his trauma and just listening to everything. And and so the first time that you get to see him sort of break out of that rustiness is when Dorothy and the Scarecrow happen to come into his world and free him and slide some oil to him. And so for me, you have to pay attention to that sort of thing. If it's in the text, it's there for a reason. And so, you get this sort of sense that the journey for the Tin Man from the beginning and finding the arc has to be experiential. What I mean by that is that beyond the words and the music, you have to find the arc of the Tin Man on your feet in the process. When you hear Dorothy and see Dorothy respond to the lion after I've just chastised the lion for not having any courage, you learn from Dorothy how to be more fatherly because of the way that she sings Be a Lion with him. You learn aspects of the heart by watching. And so that's something that I have discovered in the process of playing this Tin Man. I love, I sort of had alluded before that I knew from the beginning in sort of collaborating with Kelly, our director, choreographer, she was generous in the sense that she gave me full permission to do what I wanted with Slide Some Oil, which is the Tin Man's sort of big number. And so she gave me, so she gave me the freedom to choreograph that. And so I did. And so for me, quite intentionally, I wanted to bring Ben Vereen into it. I wanted to bring Sammy Davis Jr. into it, and I wanted to bring Bilbo Jangles Robinson into it, because these are song and dance men that have been received by white audiences for their talent, but not always been seen or understood for their heart. And that's common in Black entertainment, is that people party to the sound of the pain, but they don't embrace the pain. And people receive the benefits of the culture and the benefits of the originators of the things that we see in musical theater, but then they so easily receive it claim it and forget it. And so for me, quite intentionally, I saw the Tin Man as an opportunity to kill with veneer, because that's what we do with style and with the things that we have originated, but then also slay in being in bearing the pain. So and sometimes the most painful thing is to express joy, because joy is quite defiant in the midst of hard circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
So you have this beautiful arc for the Tin Man where when push comes to shove, when the whiz begins to ask what each one of us want in the throne room, you know, the Tin Man is sort of put in this push comes to shove place where he fights for what he cares for. And for the first time, you get to sing from the heart. Like, what would I do if I could feel? And instead of the pain, he's very painfully painting pictures of joy and pictures of freedom and pictures of, and to me, that is a gift to be able to sing and dance and impress and then bear the heart. Because you don't always get a role like that where you get to do both, especially as a song and dance man. And so I quite intentionally wanted to go after the journey behind the song and dance man, the Black song and dance man that in some spaces was never received for what they actually imparted to culture. Yeah.
When you go see it, I'm not going to spoil it, but your Tin Man is also pretty cocky. You have to go in and you see what I'm talking about.
Yes. And it's in the text.
Baby,
But
listen, that's that text work.
It's in that text. But he is.
And you leaned into it. He leans. That's what he leans into. He's a good actor.
I slid into it.
He's a good actor. I slide.
Right.
I was looking for the word I was going to say. Confident, bordering on arrogance.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He goes there. Yeah, he does. He loves himself.
Y'all will see what I'm talking about. Y'all will see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Nehemiah, you are the first person we are introduced to after Dorothy, and so for us, I mean, you're kind of a linchpin because you meet everyone else. And so we're all saying, okay, well, you know, what's Scarecrow going to do? How is he going to respond and act to these, you know, react to the other actors as it continues to evolve? And so for your character, and Shanice just mentioned it, she says, oh, at the beginning it was like this. Does that change for you at all? I mean, you have to do it every night, you know, and in 2 shows, like it's brand new.
Yeah.
Is it always brand new, or do you have to? Because again, you're kind of like a linchpin for us. But now you've done this, and now you know the personalities even more. How do you? Tell me how that works.
Well, for me, with the Scarecrow, one of the things that I've discovered about him is his curiosity for the world. Like when he gets off of the pole. When I read the script, all of my lines thereafter were questions. So he's constantly questioning what's happening around him, questioning the people he meets, but also trying to like understand that. And I feel like because it's a constant question, it can feel new every single night. And like questioning that I don't always know the answer, and I don't always know what the outcome is going to be, but I am curious about it. And so I'm able to ask these questions genuinely because I don't always know what answer I'm going to get necessarily. It's not always going to be the same thing, but that's the thing that kind of keeps it fresh for me is that it's just always being curious and always wanting to know a little bit more and taking that all in.
Oh, wow.
We got a musical interlude.
Right? I was like, altar call.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know.
Right here. It's Emerald City Green.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm just gonna get up and stop that from happening. I'm not gonna play like it ain't happening.
I was like, it puts power to the word question.
It was wait, you were speaking so much truth. You needed some theme music, some underscore.
Yeah.
Some underscore.
He said question, and that orchestra came.
That orchestra came.
I'm gonna give it back to you, Scarecrow. While I'm doing this same thing. How do you put you into the Scarecrow?
Well,
now this guy singing, dancing, comedy. I mean, like I said, the Scarecrow is kind of the linchpin.
Yeah. What I also discovered about the Scarecrow, which is very similar to me, and how we actually interact, the four friends, as we call them, Dorothy and Tin Man and Lion. I am the middle child, and in the show, I am also the middle child. Even in our offstage friendship with Philip and Nathaniel, I'm the middle child. And so it's not hard for me to translate that on stage, because it's very much a part of already who I am. And also just the kindness and sincerity of the Scarecrow, that comes very naturally to me as well. So
It's true.
there were so many similarities of like how I interact with the people I'm working with on stage and actually who the Scarecrow is. And like, I think in our process, we all were discovering like where we all fall with each other. And I feel like we are like a family unit of brothers and sisters. And that's kind of how I'm like, Dorothy's like our younger sister, and we have our Tin Man who's like the older, and then the Scarecrow's in the middle, and the Lion's kind of like the younger brother. And like, but we're all older than Dorothy, and I already have a life that's like that. And so it was easy for me to slip into that, and that feel very natural to me.
You brought up the Lion, and the Lion was bananas too. Everybody in the cast. Just each of you, just briefly, because the Lion's not here to represent. Just tell me a little bit about the individual, the person, the performance, from your perspective of the Lion. All I can tell you is the Lion killed it too. All right, but so each just briefly tell me a little bit about the Lion.
Oh yeah, like I said before, I feel like the Lion is like the baby brother. And like he wants so badly to be brave and be strong and like do the things that other people do, and he tries and it doesn't work that well, but he tries to put on a good front. But he also shows his heart, and that like he wants to be a part of the group, and he also he just has that thing where like, when you're just like, oh, that's just the Lion, and like, come on, brother, come on. And like we give him second chances and third chances, because we know he's a good at heart, even though sometimes he'd be acting a fool. but he easily feels like family like that, and you're not going to leave your family behind, and you're going to take your family with you, and you're gotta keep them with you. And so I don't know, it just felt like that family dynamic is exactly how it feels to me. And like he has that baby brother feel to him, where you just want to like hold him and take care of him and protect him, and he makes you smile.
Yeah,
but he gets on your nerves. Just like little ones.
Yes.
Same question. I'm gonna tell you my impression of the Lion. Okay, you're watching and everything is going along and it's cool, and all of a sudden the Lion goes, me.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's great.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Lion.
Yes. Beautifully played by Nathaniel Tenenbaum, who's also a local here in Seattle.
All right.
That's right.
Did he go to Renton too?
No, yes. He's from England originally,
he's from
but
England,
he's been
actually,
around
but he
here.
lives here.
Yeah, but
he
he's
was
been
in
here.
Dreamgirls. I think that was his first show over at Village. He played Jimmy Early, smashed it. Was nominated for a Gregory for that. Also, I'm speaking for you, Nathaniel. You're also sorry that you're not here. I've just always been a fan since I first saw him as Jimmy Early, and have been wanting to work with him. So pre-pandemic, we were both cast in Sister Act at the Fifth Avenue Theater. And then the pandemic hit during our tech rehearsal, so we never got to put that show up on the stage. And so I was so happy when I found out that Nate was cast in this as well, and that we would finally get to work together. But
Same here. This is the first time I've gotten to work with him.
He's absolutely an awesome
Brilliant.
artist, vocalist. He's funny as all get out.
Me!
Yes.
Yes.
He is a smart actor. He's worked at
Quick,
the Rep. I mean, like, he's just done so many things here in the city. And even though he's not town business, he's honorary town business. I claim him as a Seattle actor.
Yes.
I hope you claim yourself as a Seattle actor.
And really quickly, I can't get to everybody, but I have to ask you about Dorothy. Amazing performance by Dorothy. If each of you could just share a little bit about whatever, just working with this individual and the character, just because she's not here.
Kataka Core, we love you.
Yeah. Love you, Kataka.
Actually, it's similar to like with to Nate. It's like that Kataka's been around here for quite some time. She's also they're also a local. And like done like kid stage at Issaquah and things like that. And for me, I found out about Kataka like last year, and they've been working, like getting hired all this past year, but like understudying and things like that. And I saw them in the Village did winter concert.
The Christmas show that we did.
Christmas show. And that's where I first saw them. And that voice, I tell you,
the voice,
like. I knew right away, I was like, that's a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
And like now getting this opportunity to work with them, like side by side is like an absolute dream. And I know that for them, that this is also a dream role that they're getting to play Dorothy. And just come and listen to this person sing, because Kataka blows every song out of the water. It's absolutely amazing.
Every song.
Every watching them.
And with such a beautiful, like Kataka themselves, such a beautiful heart, like literally like just soft and lovely and so kind and giving.
Professional.
And very much like very much like the way that she plays Dorothy. Like that's how
nurturing.
That's how they are with us, like as individuals.
And their mac and cheese is banging.
You know what? I still haven't gotten mac and cheese. I'm a little like, why am I left out?
One of the things that they could have easily just been everything, but they did such a great job of pulling back and giving you your space when it was your time. At least that's what I saw. You know?
Yes.
When Dorothy needed to be Dorothy, but at the same time, it's like, no, let me pull back.
Yeah. And they're like that in life. Exactly. That's exactly how Kataka is.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. This is Street Beat. I'm your host, Tony B. Joining me has been the cast members from The Wiz. Again, The Wiz will be at the Fifth Avenue Theater until December 23rd, the last day.
The last day, yes.
The last day. And there's evidently some deals going on where you can get coupon and get discount. I don't want to say nothing that I don't want people mad
correct.
at me.
No.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Come.
Yeah. So do not miss this opportunity to see this phenomenal production of this. Thank y'all so much for joining me and being here. And I guess at some point we'll have to get a picture on the stage so that I can say that y'all were on this stage.
Hey, honored to be here
as well. And so I'd like to give each of you an opportunity for final words here. I've been throwing questions at you, but anything that you just want to say. Hometown folks, good to have you on the stage. Welcome to the city.
Thank you.
For those of you out there who are listening, those of you who are watching on our various social media platforms, Eveline, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow. Now, you may not see that right now, but once the costumes and the makeup comes on, just trust. But I want to give you all an opportunity for final words, and so I've kind of reversed the order of starting with. So Phil, this time I've started with you.
Oh man, yes.
So anything that you would like to say right now to our audience?
Yes, I would like to say, in having the privilege of in having the privilege of being a part of an all-Black production, specifically an iconic one like The Wiz, in a post-2020 society, one of the things that I have resolved to discover as an actor, especially post-2020, especially when all of these conversations are at the forefront of our minds and we're all doing the work, is that I, as an actor, no longer have to compartmentalize my Blackness in a room, in a studio, on a stage. And if you are a young Black performer, there's evidence of your existence on the stage and on film that dates back to the beginning of the film industry and the beginning of stage. Mm-hmm. Singing in the Rain is perfect, apart from the fact that it is all white, because it didn't actually reflect the world that was on stage and off, because those white artists rubbed shoulders with Black artists and Black originators of the very art form that was being portrayed. And so even in period pieces, there are originators of the art form called musical theater that have existed. So it's important to know that, because there has always been a place for you in theater, on film, in musical theater. I say that to young Black artists because that matters, so that you never feel like you have to over-justify your existence whenever you're cast in a show. And I want to say that to non-Black artists, because The Wiz is very much a demonstration of Black beauty and Black talent and Black contribution, but it is by no means a Black version of The Wizard of Oz. It's its own thing, and it's the same story, but with a lens of the contribution of Blackness in America. And it's important. And I think it's always important now in a post-2020 conversation to stop using terms like Black versions of, because the reality is that musical theater, I did Shuffle Along on Broadway, and so I'm coming from that perspective, where I discovered that Shuffle Along in 1921, when it opened, was the first, and all black originators, Noble Sissel, U.B. Blake, Effie Miller, and anyway, I'm blanking on names, but all of these Black originators, when they put together Shuffle Along, it was the first time that dancing and singing and music and acting were put together on a stage. So it was very much the creation of musical theater, and it united of any color, and united uptown and downtown in Manhattan, and was the first demonstration of song and dance on stage. And so we have to understand origin so that we can stop compartmentalizing and begin to tell honest stories with a full understanding of the history of what we do. So I just want to say, one, there's a place for you as a young Black artist, especially now post-2020 in these conversations. And two, let's keep doing the work, and let's keep telling the truth on the stage in light of what we know now.
Thank you.
That is, yes.
Nehemiah, hometown.
Yes. I will keep mine short and sweet. I would just want to say, come out and see some Black excellence in theater. Also, come out and see a beautiful hue of what Blackness actually looks like these days. There is every shade of Blackness on that stage. And that's all I want to say about that. Come out and see it. Come and enjoy.
Yes.
Be changed. Be moved.
Okay. I'll let you go. You know I'd like to hear you talk more. That's all you got right now?
Yeah. Keep it good. Yeah.
We'll keep it right there.
Yeah.
Thank you for your performance and for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we started with Evelyn, Shanice, And it's perfect just to end the same way. Anything that you'd like to say to your friends, family, been here, and just everybody who's listening, watching in general. The floor is yours.
I want to just co-sign on what Nehemiah and Philip said. Both of those things are so important. Starting with Philip, understanding the origin. We started this, and it's always been important to me. And one of the reasons why I teach is so that I can let young artists know, especially young artists of color and especially young little Black girls, that you can be seen on a professional stage, that you can have this path, you can have this life, that you are represented up here. So that is so important to me as well. And then what Nehemiah said, this, what we want to give to this city, what it means to this city, and what it means to the Black actors of this city. This opportunity for us is just wonderful to be able to have community the way that we have with each other on stage. Like, we don't get that often, especially in musical theater. Rarely do you see an all Black musical cast in this city, period, in any of the theaters. It happens, but not often. And so being able to be a part of that is special within itself. And I think the last thing I want to say is come out to see the show. I've said this from day one, I want to put on for my city. I want y'all to come out and have this holiday memory. Bring your cousins, bring the kids. If folks is coming in town and you're looking for entertainment, this show, this production is family friendly, from the kids all the way up to grandma and grandpa, by the style of the music, by the playfulness, and everything in between. It is very much a Sankofa story, which is very much, I believe, the Black experience in Black America, meaning reach back to what you know, reach back into your heart, reach back to the ancestors to get the knowledge, the love, the guidance. This story is a Sankofa story. Dorothy is traveling through Oz, trying to get back to what she knew, get back to her Aunt Em, get back to her support system, get back to her village where she knows the love is, where she knows the protection is, her safety net. And so that is so much of our experience as Black people being brought over into this country, being drugged over into this country. Let me use the right language. But it is a Sankofa experience. So please come out and see this show. Again, ticket discounts. Don't let it be a barrier. Just like reach out, DM me on Instagram or on my Facebook page, Shanice Omar, on my artist page, and ask about the discounts. I'm sure maybe Rachel can get some discounts to get put up on y'all's website and whatnot. Don't let money be a reason why you haven't came to see this show. Just talk to somebody. Just reach out, please. I want all the little kids to have the whiz the way that we had the whiz. Thank you for having us.
I wish you just all three could be here and we could just talk once a week.
Listen.
I love it. Wow. Thank you for being here. This conversation has changed my ending, the way that I was going to end the show. So I'm going to make an announcement that nobody knows yet, but this conversation has led me to make the announcement now. I wasn't seriously going to do this, but I'm going to make the announcement anyway. And right now I'm just making people, what is he going to say?
I'm intrigued.
I'm going to, this is the first time that I've announced this publicly. For the entire month of February, we are going to turn the Columbia City Theater into a Black museum, sharing the history of the city, the state, and experiences in general. The entire theater, there will be exhibits, the blackpast.org, the Black Heritage Society, the Unspoken Truths, the Hendricks family, Jimmy's stuff, and way, the Seattle Black Panthers are going to have an exhibit here. I don't know if you know about the Seattle Black Panthers.
The Dixon.
They were the first chapter formed outside of Oakland.
I did not know that.
Started the food breakfast program that is now in every school in the country. They started that.
Wow.
So, and the largest slave enslaved folks quilt collection.
Wow.
Dating back to, I think, 1852. I don't know if you know about quilt codes and with the largest quilt collection that's going to be here. I'm bringing my movie. I got these big 36 by 36 posters from Black movies from the 70s that I've never shown before. And that's just the beginning. So that's going to happen here in February. I'm talking to some folks because I think that we need to represent theater as well, and the history of theater in this city. And I mean, you know, even if it's
Black
50,
Arts West.
yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Hey, I grew up. My mom took me to shows. Hey, that's right. You know, I grew up. My mom grew taking me to theater when I was little. You know, to Black theater, and so. And if it was hometown theater, I saw it. If it was coming in town, Jilly's Last Jam, I saw it. My mom she was an avid theater goer, especially if it was Black art. She wanted to make sure that she exposed me.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bobby Sims. I love you, mommy.
And this will be not only historical and educational, but also interactive. So if you can imagine, we're going to be using the metaverse and virtual reality. You'll be able to put on a pair of goggles and you'll be sitting in the Cotton Club.
Wow.
In 1927, watching Langston Hughes on the stage, talking to people who were next. We finna put it down.
Come on now.
The entire month of February, right here. Spoiler alerts. Now you know. Also, we're going to have panel discussions and workshops, and we're of course going to talk about critical issues as well. So y'all made me put that out there. People are like, man, you weren't supposed to say that. Anyway,
I love it. I love it.
Right.
When the spirit moves, you know.
You gotta just go with the flow.
You know, we kind of went there though, you know. So.
Yeah, we did, and it was, and the ride was beautiful.
Yeah, thank
you. The ride
you.
was beautiful. Again, my guest, Scarecrow, Nehemiah Hooks, Cocky Tin Man. You don't know that yet. You'll see what.
Oh, he's the most. He's the most.
We love
it's true.
We love the most.
He's extra.
And Shanice, and you guys are from Renton as well.
Yeah, Skyway. I mean, we went to Renton High School, but we Skyway.
Oh, Skyway. Okay, well, yeah.
Because you know that's a different. It's the same, but it is different. It means something different.
It is different.
It is.
It's unincorporated.
It's unincorporated King County.
And it really puts you into our Rainier Avenue Radio App. That's
that is it. This is it. Yeah.
You know, at one point, and I think it's still, as they say, the most diverse zip code in the country.
Yes.
In the country. Well, thank you again. I know you got a show that you're going to have to do tomorrow, so this is your day off, and I appreciate you taking the time to come down here and share with us.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
It's me, Tony B, your host of Street Beat on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Make sure and get your tickets. There's some discounts. We'll see. I ain't gonna guarantee, but if we can put something on our website that will give you a discount, we'll see. I can't guarantee that, but they said it. I'm rolling with y'all, which means we're gonna have to make this happen.
Said yes and yes
put it all out there.
Yes and.
That is it. That's all the time I have. That's gonna do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B, saying, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.